Hello, Jack, and everyone else. We are both homesick today, and since you have infected me and essentially turned me into one, I thought it'd be rather fitting to have a look at some zombie films. The zombie genre owes itself greatly to George A. Romero's works, starting with 1968's Night of the Living Dead, and I want to do a separate episode on Romero's films at some point. But for this episode, I want to look at some of the zombie films from the 2000s resurgence of the genre. What are you doing? What are you doing with your tongue? Often credited with reinvigorating the zombie genre is Danny Boyle's 2002 28 Days Later. A bunch of animal activists break into a lab and inadvertently release chimps infected with a rage-inducing virus. 28 days later, hence the title, a bike courier, Jim, wakes up from a coma in a London hospital to find the city a deserted disaster zone. He eventually joins other survivors and they head to Manchester, where a radio broadcast promises safe haven. This is one of the first films to popularise the fast-moving zombie. Relentless and vicious, they complement well with when later in the film Jim's character has to act in a similar manner in order to survive. While the acting is on par, this isn't anyone's standout role, and the heart of this film is in the modern reimagining of a zombie apocalypse and the awe-inspiring visuals of the deserted London. 2004's Shaun of the Dead is the first in Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg's Cornetto trilogy. This is a comedic and very British take on the zombie genre. Shaun is pretty much a zombie already, drifting through life aimlessly. But when he finally notices the zombie apocalypse happening around him, he finds the drive to take charge of the situation and get his friends and family to the best safe haven he can think of, the local pub. Absolutely hilarious, this critically acclaimed film helped catapult Wright, Pegg and Nick Frost into the global spotlight. 2004's Dawn of the Dead remake is the feature film directorial debut of Zack Snyder, and similar to Romero's original, follows a group of survivors who take refuge in a nearby shopping mall. While not as deep as Romero's films that often contain themes on social commentary, this is nonetheless a good zombie film, and I absolutely love the montage of the survivors passing their time trapped in the mall, all the while set to Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machines cover of Disturbed's Down with the Sickness. Resident Evil 2002. While the Resident Evil series, currently on its 6th instalment, has become rather tiresome and increasingly straight to DVD quality, I wanted to add in this first film from the series here, as it's not only an okay zombie film, but also one of the few films based on a video game franchise that isn't a U-Bowl contaminated train wreck. Jack, does U-Bowl make any good video game films? Eh? Does he make any good video game films? Does U-Bowl make any good video game films? I would also like to throw in a mention for The Walking Dead and iZombie, but we will leave looking into these for if we ever do a Father's Favourite TV series. I apologise if I've sounded dreadful through this, but believe me, you've been getting the best of it. I have a great number of takes wasted due to me coughing and spluttering and having to stop and blow my nose. But hopefully these rank on your favourites for zombie films, and if not, then let us know what your favourite zombie films are. And we will see you next time on Father's Favourite Films. Oh, by the way, this isn't Jack, this is a cat. Say bye, cat.